Alright, tutorial 12. Welcome to tutorial 12. So, DNS alert. If you haven't checked lecture 6, this is probably the best time to give it a shot. So basically tutorial 12 is you need to, before you set up a website, you use this etc host or C Windows System32 drivers etc hosts to get to know your domain name to your IP address. That is without DNS server. That's the trick you do. And in this tutorial, you're actually going to set up a DNS server. Then you can just automatically resolve your domain name to your IP address, or you can do vice versa, do a reverse domain lookup. So we start from putting, so this is still built up on tutorial 9 or 10, or you should have some running website, which I do have networks.com or CentOS 8 from tutorial 9.11 and this rohit.gg from tutorial 10. So the first thing, we're gonna set up DNS server on Windows. So setting up DNS server on Windows is literally following the, where is the service manager? Yeah, it's literally using their built-in tool called DNS as well. So if I want this Windows Server 2016 to be DNS server, I will need to go to this forward lookup zones. So if I have two websites I want to resolve, the first thing is rohit.gg on my own. I just go to create a new zone called rohit.gg just for me to tell. So we allow non-secure and secure dynamic updates for this zone. And in this zone, we create a new host or AA or AAA, so IPv4 and IPv6 entry. Name we leave blank, and IP address is the server of this website. So rohit.gg is on myself, and the Windows Server itself is true. So I just put it true here. So I just add this host here. And we also, it's like for CentOS 1, we can also do this by creating networks, networks.com. And we still allow non-secure and dynamic entries, and for networks we add the host entry, and the IP address is 192.168.1.1, which is the CentOS IP address. So now I think I configured the host file before, so I'm gonna try to get rid of them. So C Windows System 32 drivers etc hosts notepad, and I'm gonna try to get rid of them. Save, click, and now I'm a DNS server. So if I have any other machine, maybe other than Kali, because Kali is a little bit tricky to set up DNS server on it, so I just start this bad boy here. And for CentOS, I can also, this is tutorial 11, sorry about the mess, but networks.com did work. It will give you hello, this is networks.com. And the reason why it is working right now is because we have this host one. Quit, thank you. So vim etc hosts, we have this host file set up as an entry for it. Now I'm gonna get rid of it. And if we still have Firefox around, this won't work anymore, because yeah, this won't work, and this is just cached. So now we need to set up a DNS server to resolve our CentOS instance to know what is networks.com, just like I configured on the DNS tools on the Windows server. This will take time, I do know that. I just hope it can be faster. Yeah, it's gonna take some time. Let's see if Windows 7 is ready. Let's just bump up Windows 7. Windows 7, let's give it IP address. Form 192.168.1.7, because it's Windows 7, and 192.168.1.2 as the DNS server for the for this machine from Windows 2016. Let's check CentOS. So CentOS is working again, even with nothing in the host file. And this is what I would like to see on this Windows 7, because we just launched it and it knows networks will come immediately. And of course, rohit.gg. If I don't remember wrong, rohit.gg is still the DNN part we did from tutorial 10, I think. Let's check. Okay. I'm mixing up the combinations, the keycaps. So rohit.gg. Yeah, still the DNN part, but that indicates Windows 2016 is serving as a DNN server very well. So this is the first part of your tutorial 12. And the second part is you want to set up this thing on CentOS. So CentOS is a little bit trickier because it uses a thing called bind. Bind is a whatever that stands for, because I think B is for Berkeley. So but just like Apache and MariaDB, it has a daemon process. It's called named, and you need to configure this named so you can have CentOS as a DNS server. So we can always go to all the static configuration files at etc. And I'm sorry using Vim, but use Vim to go to a directory. So you have this named.conf. It should be there with chunk text. So you can see you have lots of things. But the thing is, like, your CentOS, being a DNS server, is trying to provide. I'm just checking if I'm recording. Yes, I'm recording. CentOS, being a DNS server, is trying to provide resolving services for everything in this network. So in order to have allow access to every possible host in this network, you need to create an ACL, access control list, and you can give it a name. Let's just call it trusted, okay? Because we trust them, because this is our own stuff. And so what's the network? We're in 192.168.1.0. This is the network address with network prefix. And we also want to trust ourselves, of course, because we are localhost. And we need to use semicolon to stop everything, to stop every configuration tree we put in this folder. So DNS itself is TCP UDP protocol on port 15. So here we have this listen on that is actually working. But the thing is, like 127.0.0.1 is a loopback. So only CentOS itself will be able to refer itself using this address. So how the other devices in this network can address to this CentOS DNS server? So we need to give the address that is actually for this DNS server to be seen by other devices in this network. And we don't really care about IPv6 here, so you can comment it out or delete this line, but the comment would be a better practice. And for this allow query here, of course, it's not localhost itself again. It's everything in this device. It's trusted group. It's L you created here. And at the end of the file, you can also see it's just like HTTPD. It's just like Apache. You can include some other configuration files. And here we are going to include something still under etc. It's still under folder called named, and this folder is called named.conf.local. If I can type, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So yeah, so in this folder, we go to this place. So if we can go named, can we have named please? Thank you. So we don't have this thing. We don't have this thing. It's okay because we can just create it. So this local configuration file here, we are gonna set up our domain name for the DNS server, not your website. It's like your DNS server is serving as the authoritative DNS server. Like if you still remember in lecture 6, there's like a figure about like how a client is resolving the a domain name to an IP address. The process, you go to root and you go to authoritative. This folder is containing that DNS domain name, and this is called a zone. So you set this, let's see, I'm just gonna use example.com because I have networks.com as like one of my virtual hosts. So I'm just gonna put it type here as master. Of course, we need to semicolon it, and you need to file the zone file. The zone file is, so etc name d is absolute path. We're gonna create a zones file, and we're gonna put the DB file of this zone in it, and we close it with the semicolon, and we're just gonna call it db dot the domain name we want to give it to this zone or our DNS server. It's called forward zone file path. It's literally like the thing you click on the Windows, you create a new zone on. This is literally creating the new zone you can forward on. So now we actually make this file, this zones file, containing all the zones, because we can have all the zones. And we can, in this zone file, we can also create db.networks. No, sorry, not networks. That's my host, virtual host, example.com. And we're gonna start with assigning a variable of like what's this thing called? Time to live? I think that's what it's called. Sorry, just give it some time, and you can use this add entry. I think that indicates all. I think it indicates all like domain before. I don't remember. I'm sorry. But this thing is like a name server of this zone. You just leave a dot behind. Admin dot, sorry, and you bracket start bracket. The first thing is 1. This is your serial number, and the second thing is the refresh. Like I think it's how long thing gonna refresh as image as literal meaning. So like how long we're gonna retry after fail, I think. So and how long it's gonna expire, and the minimum time to live, and yeah, and we just create this thing because this I think semicolon here works as like, this is like a minimum time to live, this is like expire. Yeah, so because like semicolon works as comment, I think. Also now we need to create NS records for the name server records. Now, so this is still an initry, but it's NS record, and this is for our NS server. So this is ns.example.com. And we need to create a records, so host records. Like, so first thing we need to do is for our name server, right? Our name server needs to have is also need a host record. This 3300, I think this is like a priority thing. I don't remember what it's being called. So it range from like 1,000 to 9,000. I don't really don't go down this, but yeah, I remember this is like a priority stuff. So IP address of the CentOS, of course, because we are the DNS server, and we also need to create records for other machines. So like for all the device, we still gonna give this 6,000. It's a record, IPv4 record. I'm gonna just give it to 192.168.1.1, and this is this is example.com's default IP address. So we have, in this network, we have Windows 2016 as 2 and 7 as 7. So that Windows 2016, and let's just set 6,000 it. Sorry, that's too much. And 192.168.2 1.2, and Windows 7 as result 192.168.1.7, because that's the IP address I give them. So now I save this thing. I can do this name the check configuration. So check conf. And oh, everything looks good. Okay, so if you have any error, it will prompt you. So you can, based on like you have some semicolons you forgot, you can change them. And you can also check your Zoom files integrity. So check Zoom. So the domain we are checking is example.com, and the file is etc named d. So this is actually where I am, right? Name d slash zones slash db. I have one. So okay, as I said. So now we want to change our host name. Let's name ctl set host name set host name type. Wonderful. Damn it. So this is CentOS. I'm just gonna give it like a domain name called CentOS, and I'm gonna put everything as example.com. And we need to disable the what's that thing called? Set enforce SE Linux enforce 0, and we need to we can start this okay, yes, start. We can start the service, and it actually runs. So DNS server, remember we have a firewall. While we use this as like a web server, we need to punch a hole. Same thing for DNS server. It's just this time. So same thing for permanent. For like if you start, this still works, and put that soon to public. This time we are adding port 253 with TCP protocol, and we do this to UDP protocol because DNS for examples, UDP mainly, and the other one is just reload. So we make sure this host actually works. That sounds weird. And now we can do this NS lookup Windows 7, and you will see you can actually resolve. Please God, please God. Okay, I know the reason why. The reason why is because I set up this preferred DNS server as Windows 7.16. So apply. See, now we can have the address for Windows 7. But you see, the resolve server is using this loopback. And the reason why I put Windows 7 here, it automatically goes to example.com because loopback is bound to this. So in order to, this only serves CentOS itself as like, okay, I know what to resolve. But for all the devices in the network, 127.0.0.1 is 100% not going to work. And in order to make this work for all the other so literally, sorry, I'm phrasing this wrong. So this is the reason why we are using this, because we haven't configured this. Like I changed from 1.2 to absolutely nothing. It default back to use loopback. But the thing is, like for other devices, you probably do want to use this as the CentOS server, as your DNS server. So you want to use this address, you can see in the subnet. And this time, you are using this IP address as DNS server, and that is what that's what's actually gonna work. If I can go to Windows 7, thank you. Properties. So if I try to pick this one, so this we will actually be able to use CentOS as my DNS server on the other machine, because I absolutely cannot think 127.0.0.1. It's called NS lookup here. So what's that thing called? Okay, let's say Windows 2016. Okay, of course it doesn't know server is on Server is unknown. Okay, I should stop. I should stop making all this weird stuff. But the thing is, like, let's just try CentOS. Okay, I don't have CentOS yet. So 2016 dot example.com. So yeah, this can be solved. And this one is unknown. It's probably I will need. It's actually I don't need to. But the thing is, like, I probably want to add CentOS as one of the resolvable target as well. So Windows 7 for this DNS server is myself, and I can see myself here. And of course, I can update this like zones, like file. I can just put myself here. So I'm CentOS. I'm here. I'm here, and I just put my own IP address here. But I'm updating this thing. In order for all the sequence to update, I probably want to update my serial number of this DNS zone file. So actually, when we pass out like DNS records is something, like we know this is the updated version compared to those one have one. So cache could be updated, this kind of thing. And now if I go to, I think I probably need to reload named in order to this to work. I don't think so, because like if you are using Windows Server sorry, this is not Windows Server. If you're using Windows Server 2016, if your DNS is not working that like fluently, you can just use ipconfig / DNS, right? If I'm referring it right or wrong. So literally yes, you want to flash DNS, yeah, not flash DNS. So this will like flush all the cache, and I think this, like, in order to do this, you need to like restart your named on your CentOS. I think that's the thing. So yeah, you definitely need to restart this. And now on Windows 7, let's just ping, let's look up, do all the fun things, CentOS example.com. I don't know what's going on actually, but let's see Windows 7. Windows 7 example.com. So it's still using the same, because it doesn't receive the second one. The second is systemctl status. Named is up, named is still up. Check the zone file, check this zone file. We have CentOS, we have everything. Let's just try to use 10 as well. So 10 network. So this thing I want to use, instead of use myself as a DNS server, this is like what we did before on CentOS. Now we need 192.168.1.1. This is CentOS, and now we close. Now what we do is I don't know Windows. I don't know. I'm sorry about that. So let's look up CentOS example.com. Should we have this? And we don't have this for some reason. It's not updated. What did I do wrong? I verify the name service reachable and pin commands. The things like, let's see if CentOS example.com is pinnable. It's not pinnable. So this one is not recorded. So did I put the thing wrong? CentOS Windows 2016. So service reload. Sorry, service named reload. I hope this works. Please. Of course this works. Let's go. We have it. So now This one doesn't have it. So if this is the case, I think pin CentOS.example.com is become pinnable. So the other thing is, like, remember we have this networks.com on CentOS we can use. This is from tutorial 11.9. It's actually in the Apache, so it's etc tbd. Here on sites enabled, we have this networks.com, but we actually want to use our CentOS address now, our new like DNS server address now. So we can use CentOS dot, what's our thing, example, right? I always forgot this. So CentOS dot example.com, and yeah, I think I can start both servers. First thing, I definitely want to start HTTPD because I changed stuff on it. Named, probably want to change it again, so God bless me, this thing will work. Let's see, CentOS example.com. Yeah, it actually gives you networks.com. So because they are all going to the 192.168.1.1, that makes it work. So this is forward DNS lookup. We can also do reverse DNS lookup. Basically, it means if we know an IP address, we can know what kind of like domain name has been bound to it. In order to do this, we create another zone actually. So still the named stuff, create another zone, but this time, remember we are on the 24 network with 192.168.1.0 as our network address, which means our network portion of our address is 192.168.1. We just do this part like in a reverse order as a convention. I think this should be a convention, and win them as in addr.upper. So imagine you're doing like reverse DNS lookup. You're actually trying to needle the DNS server to know what is in this IP address, what is like a domain name behind this IP address. So like if you use this little needle, you like stomp on your DNS server, the DNS server will feel pain. So upper in Korean, so upper means pain. So yeah, that's basically how, if you want to, how to remember this for some weird reason. Okay. So this zone file you can create is as db.168.192. It's the reverse thing, same thing. And did I have everything? I guess I do have everything. Now I need to actually mix this file. db not example.com .1.168.1.62. So I'll just touch it, and actually I can actually copy this db.example.com's content to this db.1 content. Yes, I very much have liked to, because some of the things we can reuse, like this part. Probably I won't change this, but I can go back to 1. I can still have NS records, but I don't have any A records anymore. Instead, I will have this excuse me. So I will have this pointer records, PTR records, and what has been started is the host portion of my network, of the network address of this DNS record. So in and type of the records, we go CentOS example.com. My brain just so okay. So in PTR, so this is Windows 2016.example.com, and of course 7 in PTR as Windows 7.example.com. So now Oh my lord, I'm sorry, my throat is not working. We can always check the configuration file is still working or not. It's very good. So now definitely need to reload this service. I'm losing my voice, I hope. So then let's look up for this IP address. You can find the domain name for it. So we can check 7 for Windows 7, check 2 for Windows 2016. And that is reverse domain lookup. And the last thing we need to focus on is something called whois. So this allows us, I'm very sorry I'm losing my voice, but this is like on Unix device, this is a command line thing. You can use this to view very specific information about a domain, like IP address, host names, and any other thing. If you're on Windows, you can just go to, like, there's so many whois website, like who.is is literally one. You can use them to view information about one domain. And in terms of test, creating forward zones on Windows 2016, that's very straightforward with the tools. Bind service, forward zone, reverse zone. Just make sure you know, be careful while you're writing the zone files. So the db.example.com, db.1.168.192 as reverse. So forward and reverse, and whois, just look up information for registered domains. And that is tutorial 12. I'm losing my voice. Alright, thank you guys.